Hello, welcome to the first episode of Buffzone for 2011. I'm Ryan Thornburn, this is Josh Lindenstein, and we've just covered one of the most boring scrimmages in CU history. It was mostly 2s and 3s, a lot of special teams, and it kind of wraps up what was overall a pretty good camp. Not a great scrimmage today, but a good camp. Your thoughts, Josh?
Well, first of all, I want to send a shout out to Kyle Ringo, whose wife had a baby on Monday, so I'm standing in here. But yeah, you heard John Embry say it, everybody's had their chance, now it's time to get ready for Hawaii. So everybody who wanted to get on the field, hopefully they did what they felt they needed to do.
I think number one thing we've learned at this camp is Tyler Hansen is the man, Rodney Stewart's the starting running back, Ryan Miller's going to have a fabulous year, and those guys are really going to be leaned on a lot. Backup quarterback situation is a concern with Nick Hirschman being out for most of camp. John Schrock has established himself as the number 3, but Coach Embry today is really upset with a lot of the backups not stepping up. They're getting a great look, and they're just not stepping up. So I think depth is the number one issue. I think these guys put out a good starting 22, like a lot of teams do, but what usually separates teams is the depth, and that's the big concern I have.
Some of the position battles that they've had going on, cornerbacks, center, a couple of those look like they're starting to get shaken out a little bit. You got Travis Sandersfeld and Parker Orms looking like they're going to be the top guys at cornerback. Munier came out first with the offense, and seems like he's been doing that frequently. You've got the punter situation, which at the end of the scrimmage there, they really put those guys through the paces, gave them a lot of kicks, and Embry said he'd be making a decision on that on Monday with the first depth chart they put out. So we'll find out on a few of these things.
Yeah, of course, Will Oliver has won the place kicking job. He's a true freshman. If Derek O'Neill wins the punting, you're going to have 2 freshmen. I think those 2 have been pretty solid in camp, so if they're both in there, they've earned it. But I think having 2 freshmen is a little shaky. But I think the number one concern for this team, like I said, is the depth and the schedule. I think they've had a good camp. They have good momentum. They have the fresh start of the Pac-12, a new coaching staff. They're excited. But the schedule's brutal. They got to get some confidence.
Speaking of the schedule, SI comes out yesterday or the day before, I guess, 2 days ago, and picks CU not just last in the Pac-12 South, but to go 0-9. As Tyler Hansen said, that's harsh. Well,
when your home opener in the Pac-12 is Washington State, that is harsh. Those guys have won like 5 games the last 3 years. I think the Buffs are going to struggle this year because of the schedule and the lack of depth and just the newness of the Pac-12 and the coaching staff. I mean, these aren't all John Embry's guys. A lot of these guys are Dan Hawkins' guys, and they're used to a culture of losing around here. Let's face it. So I think they're going to struggle against that schedule. I think their goal is 7 wins in a bowl game. I think if they accomplish that, 2 things: John Embry would be the Pac-12 Coach of the Year, and Tyler Hansen would probably have to be considered, one of the Players of the Year in the Pac-12.
We talk about some of the rough patches that went out here today. Ryan, who were some of the guys in camp that really impressed? Maybe some young guys that did make their mark and step up and shine a little bit.
Well, just considering going into this and the fact that they play Hawaii, a 5-receiver spread offense with a great quarterback, the number one concern obviously was cornerback, losing Jaleel Brown and Jimmy Smith to the NFL. And I think Coach Embry is pretty comfortable there with the 3 guys we mentioned. They like those guys. So I think that is really a positive, that they've found 3 to 6 cornerbacks that they really have confidence in. I think that's what's been a big answer that's been played out really nicely.
Guy that you wrote a story about today, John Schrock, in as the 3rd-team QB, but he's been getting a lot of work with number 2s with Hirschman being out. How you talked to John about it a little bit yesterday. Do you think he can be that guy and come in and be the quarterback if they would need him to?
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to tear up practice, and he's looked very poised. He looks like more of a junior scholarship player than a walk-on freshman. But obviously that's going to be a difficult situation if Tyler Hansen gets hurt. But I think that's encouraging that they were able to find this hidden gem late in the process and get a quarterback like that. I think that's encouraging with recruiting classes coming up that these guys are going to get that position, you know, some star power.
Well, and there are places that coach has talked about that he does like the depth and things, the defensive line. He likes his first 6 or 7 guys on the offensive line. You know, he said Tyler missed a couple passes today, but I think for the most part he likes who Tyler Hansen is and what he brings.
Yeah.
Tailback, they've got some guys that can make some plays. Josh Ford peeled off a nice run today, breaking some tackles for a touchdown. So there are areas where they've got guys that can make plays. They're going to be, I think, a competitive team, but like you said, that schedule is just a grinder.
Yeah, we might find out Monday that wide receiver could be somewhat of an issue. Embry said there's going to be some starters on offense that are going to be moved down, that are going to surprise some people. I have a feeling, I don't want to say, but I think wide receiver could be one of those positions.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, talked about being happy with the line, and you know Speedy's penciled in at tailback and Hansen at quarterback, so there's only 1 or 2 more spots you can go.
Yeah. All right, well that about wraps it up for training camp here. We're going to be checking in with you weekly. Kyle, if you're watching this at 3 in the morning, good luck, buddy.